introduce our guest speaker for this morning. This is Reverend Dr. Bob Deen, and he's the president of the Holmes Institute, which trains the ministers and trains people in deeper spiritual consciousness studies. And so we are so grateful to have you with us this morning speaking about diversity. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This place filled up while my back was turned. I like it. Before I start, I want to get this up where I can see it. Here we go. I'd like to just tell you a little bit more about what I do, only because, not because I'm bragging, but because, well, I am a little bit, but mostly because in the event that you're interested in any of it, we can chat about it afterwards. I am the manager of professional education for the Centers for Spiritual Living, which means I'm in charge of training practitioners, training ministers, and I'm also president of Holmes Institute. Holmes Institute is a master's degree program in consciousness studies that isn't necessary, how do I say this, that you can do whether you're a ministerial student or not. If you're interested in advancing your understanding of consciousness and how that works, then that's a great place to do it. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. We have professors and instructors from all over the world, from all over the country, some of the leading people. It's all done from the comfort of your living room, so you don't have to go anywhere. I'm also, my other two loves are teens. I'm the newly appointed regional director of the teen camps for the Rocky Mountain. And my other great love is working with young adults. It makes me feel younger at times and very, very old at other times. It's we have a program, a ministry called Launching Pad. And Launching Pad is a program for young adults to help them launch into the world. We don't do anything for them. The board basically provides the space and facilitates a way, and the young adults come together then and develop and grow and support each other and look at what their dreams are and how to support each other and find resources to carry forward those dreams. It's a really wonderful program. We were centered in Berkeley. Now we are in Ashland, Oregon. But the real cutting edge is Launching Pad everywhere. We'll be developing online programs for that and an online community for young adults all across the country that want to get engaged in that. It's a pretty exciting thing. So those are just a few of my little. So when we talk about diversity, I am walking diversity, as I'm sure everybody in this room is, which is why it's such an important topic, because we get so caught up in forgetting how important that is, and forgetting that we are diverse within ourselves. I am not the same person today that I was on Friday when I was very angry at someone and wanting to be very unspiritual. I have all these diverse beings within me that sometimes show up. I also have an administrator that lives within me. Her name is Gladys. She stays drunk all the time because she makes all kinds of mistakes in administration. So we all have these diverse parts within us that are just there, and part of embracing diversity is learning to love those parts and learning as we learn to do that within ourselves, we learn to do it outside of ourselves, and we learn to see the value in all of the uniqueness and the wonder around us. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that isn't so true for many, many, many people. It was a dark night, very dark night. The little boy was terrified. He was sitting in a circle with other little boys. He was the youngest, but most of them were close to his age, 6 to 10. And as he sat there, he knew everything going on around him was wrong, but he was too little and too afraid to say or do anything about it. So he sat there. He peeked around at the guys in the white coats and the white sheets and the white hoods with the eyepieces cut out. He looked around at the women, their wives, standing back in the dark in the bushes, watching. He looked around at the black man and the black woman who were tied up to a tree and being hurt and punished. And as he watched all of that, his heart broke and he felt so torn and so terrified he did not know what to do. He knew that he was supposed to be somehow brought into this circle of people, but he just didn't know how he could live through it and what he would do. And just at the moment where it looked like things were going to get really bad, someone came out of the darkness and snatched him up, stuffed him under his arm, and ran through the woods. The brush and the briars hitting the kid in the face. But such a relief. Because you see, in that little boy, there was this drive, this feeling inside that said, this is wrong. There isn't an us and them. There is no need to hide behind the sheet. There is no need to be hurting other people who are just like us. Why in the world is this going on? That man that took the little boy was killed about 6 weeks later for doing that. Not for rescuing the little boy, but because what he saw in that circle put him in a place of power and knowledge, and he had to be shut up. And he was. That man was the best friend and secret lover of the little boy's dad. And the dad died about a year later. From grief, from the inability to go forward in the world that just was so torn, he didn't know what to do. There are people all over the world going through those kinds of horrors right now. And what has happened in our culture today is that all of that is being opened up for us to see. For those people who haven't seen it, for those people who've had the privilege of never walking through those kinds of experiences, to be able to know and see and experience that these kinds of things went on and still go on. Some of the little boys in that circle went on to become state senators and very wealthy businessmen. But what's important in the story is that inside that kid was this drive, this feeling that there's a connection, that there's something wrong here. And the pain of experiencing that wrongness pushed him towards something bigger, something greater, towards connection, towards knowing, towards loving. You know, Emerson says that it's our pain pushes us until our vision captures us. Michael Beckwith took credit for that, but Michael didn't say it first. I love Michael. He didn't say it. Emerson did. Ralph Waldo, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Our pain pushes us until our vision captures us and draws us and pulls us forward and leads us forward. And what happens in that process is that somehow through our own living, our growing, we reach a point of forgiveness and a point where the pain is reduced enough that we are captured by the possibility of what's more and what's greater. This teaching is all about, we talk all the time about the idea that there is one power, one light, one life, one universal field that's expressing everything out of it. We say, and often glibly perhaps, there's a powerful good in the universe and you can use it. Well, it's not like this is some power in a light bulb out there or something that's just a little part of the universe. It is the whole thing. That whole universal field, and you can use it. You can use it to bring forward greater good in your life. Greater power, greater life, greater love, greater beingness. And what happens is we get pulled toward this urge to connect, this urge to merge. I love the readings. Thank you. If I had picked them, I didn't know either one of those authors, but if I had, I would have chosen those. That sense within us that wants us to pull toward another person or another group of people, that sense that there's something which grows out of that underlying reality that there's only one. There's only one power. There's only one universal presence. There's only one universal field of energy and information that we are all shaped in. I sometimes say out of, but we're not really out of it. We're in it. My students used to laugh at me because in trying to teach this, the example I like to use is we're the lumps in the tapioca. You know? There's just this one big glob of energy and information, tapioca pudding, and we're the lumps, where the energy and information concentrates itself into individualized beings and individualized persons and purpose and ideas and desires and wants. And the whole world and the people in it are looking to find that glue, that connection. And we make some really dumb choices in doing it. Not anybody in this room, of course, but I'm talking about those folks out there. We get the idea that if I can just eliminate everything that's not like me from my world, then I'll be able to feel that connection and feel safe and feel comfortable and know that that oneness is real and I'll be able to experience it. And so we find the other. We push them away, whether it's race or culture or age. I love hanging out with my young adults. This is me. They call me the grandpa, so it's okay. I love hanging out with those guys because we're able to get past that who's how old or whatever. And we sit in groups and talk about our issues and our and what's going on, and we do it personally and real and without, I live, the wise one, tell them how to live. Hell no. This is recorded, right? Gibran says, our children do not come into the world for us to shape, but to teach us, to show us how to live in the future. So all of us over 25 need to listen to that and start listening to the young adults as to what they have to teach us. Doesn't mean we have to go stupid. We'll do that well enough on our own. But it means we incorporate it into the years of experience and knowledge that we already have. And where they are wanting it, we speak it as well. We speak our truth and our wisdom. And those lines just dissolve, and it's beautiful. So we eliminate the other sometimes by age. We eliminate the other by race, by culture, by all those things. And yet there is within every human being that urge to merge, that urge to connect. For years, I could not figure out why thousands of people would drive and fight traffic and pack food and tailgate and go to a football game. It just never made any sense to me. I was supposed to be a football player. You see how little I am. I didn't want to play football. People got hurt. I didn't want any part of that. So, but it wasn't until I listened to a yogi talking about it who said, it is that urge for oneness. Think about it. Everybody gets in the stadium and everybody's shouting the same thing and rooting for this team or that team. And even if you're rooting for the opposite team of the people across from you, there's still a kind of oneness because you're all in there shouting and screaming and jumping up and down and hollering. And so we have that illusion of it. We do the same thing when we get together for concerts or conventions or conferences. There's that urge to connect, that urge for oneness. It is in us. It is innate in us. It is what we're about, and it's what we do. We're all driven by it. We're all pushed to it and pushed through it. Because we're all the same stuff. So how do we cross these bridges? I loved in the reading where it talked about there's a point where you come to appreciate the differences in other people. But I think it's bigger than that. I think it's more than just understanding and appreciation. I think this urge to oneness is who we are and what we are. And so it becomes about celebrating. Because what we begin to discover in the oneness is that you are me and I am you, and there's only one in the room. There's only one energy, one power. Yes, it's individualized, and we're all different in our own unique ways. But if I try to take away your uniqueness, I'm only really hurting myself. It's like trying to lose weight by buying a mirror. Anybody ever done that? I stayed in a hotel in San Francisco once. I was there partying, and I was getting ready to go out for the night. I'm standing for this great big mirror, and I'm looking at how thin I am. Hot dog, I love that mirror. I was about 20 pounds lighter. And I started looking at it really carefully, and I realized that the mirror was a little bent. It was just a little bit. I'm like, ooh, I want one of those. Hard part is when I got out in the world, everybody's looking at me. They didn't see that vision, And I knew in my head that wasn't the truth. We don't change our lives by changing what's out there. You don't lose weight by changing the mirror. You don't look better by painting your face on it a different color. You change by changing what's in here so the mirror can reflect it back. Life can reflect it back to you. If I want more love, I got to be more loving. And love reflects it back to me. If I want more joy, I've got to be more joyful. And find that within me somehow. Abraham Lincoln says, you know, we're as happy as we choose to be. Or he said. Maybe he's still saying it. I don't know. Wherever he is. We're as happy as we choose to be. He also said, and I don't particularly like this one, that past the age of 30, every wrinkle on your face is your responsibility. I'm like, okay. You know?
Abraham Lincoln said that?
Abraham Lincoln said that. Abraham Lincoln was a brilliant metaphysician. What people don't know, and this is totally science, nothing to do with my talk, but that just prior to the famous Gettysburg Address, there were 3 metaphysicians in a row who did talks about what was happening in that place in that world. He was surrounded by folks who were into metaphysics, and he was very much a metaphysician himself. Sidetrack. So what was I talking about? Oneness, and how we come to celebrate. So when I celebrate and I get excited about your uniqueness, I'm getting excited about my uniqueness. When I can talk to you and try to find out all that makes you tick about what's different and strange to me, then I'm celebrating what's different and unique and strange to me. You see, the height of oneness, the ultimate expression of oneness is not sameness. That is the mistake the human race has made since the beginning. That we're finally waking up to that isn't the truth. The ultimate expression of oneness is uniqueness. Because there's only one. So how can one express itself in any way other than one? So you're one, and you're one, and you're one, and I'm one, and every one of us in our individualized versions of this thing called God, this thing called Spirit that we just sang about and talked about, are the highest expressions of that unity that's possible and that oneness. And when I start to celebrate your uniqueness is when I experience the oneness with you. If I'm trying to only see how you're like me, let's face it, the world would be a boring place if we were all alike. Just the lack of color would be ridiculous, you know? But if I can see your uniqueness and celebrate it, then I am celebrating the unique expressions that Spirit is in life. And I experience oneness with you as I celebrate your uniqueness and you celebrate your uniqueness with me, and knowing that that uniqueness does not create separation unless I choose to believe it and make it so. And I don't need people to change their language or their dress or their preferences or who they are. I want you to celebrate it big and loud and noisy so that whole rainbow of life gets to be seen instead of just what we choose to shut out. So the idea is celebrate who you are, celebrate the love of your diversity, because it is Spirit being something unique and special as you. One of my favorite teachers used to say, I'm God's opportunity to have a good time. Especially on Saturday night. That was before he became a minister. After he became a minister, it was still Saturday night. It was God, but you know, we are that opportunity for Spirit to be something unique. And there is, and you've all heard this, it'll never be anyone else like you. Look all the world over, there's no one like you. You know that Busy World song? If you ever go through that ride, you will never get that song out of your head forever for the rest of your life. So don't do it. Just take my word for it. But it's the idea. We're all unique, we're all important, we're all necessary for life to be what it is. We are required to be there. It has to happen. So celebrate it. So find the uniqueness. So ask the question. So get connected. So move forward. See, all of that is about the drive within us to love. To love and be loved. That's what we're all about. Every group, whether they're in white sheets with folks pushing everyone away that's not like them, whether they are in any culture, any place that says it's us and not you, the drive is to love and connect. The mistake is that we have to isolate to do that, and we can't love our differences. We can't love our uniqueness. So what happened to that little boy?
Like in wonder.
He's standing in front of you. And I share that to let you know that if a little kid in the Deep South, rescued and dragged out by a gay man, in a time and a place where gay men were not welcome, to say the least, and can get from there to here, anything's possible. And I will tell you that along the way, there were many more rescuers that showed up. And many more people in just the right moment, when it looked darkest, who said, you're unique, you're special, you're loved. You do not have to be different in the sense of hiding who you are and where you are. And as God and Spirit can do that and bring about that evolution in me, God can do it in you. No matter what may appear to be the limitation and what may appear to be holding you back. Because there's nothing that can. Sometimes not even your own willpower can hold you back from growing, from finding love and being connected in a world where love is the answer and is the question and is the whole thing. So Will, join me in closing treatment, or treatment, closing my talk, not with a celebration. So I open my heart and my mind to the idea that my individual uniqueness, everything about me that I hide, that I'm ashamed of, that I celebrate, that I love, all of that is so important. It is God expressing as me, through me, bringing to the world something that it will not have without me. And so I bring that love, I bring that truth, I bring that self-expression. And I celebrate what I see in others as their unique self-expression. Whether I understand it or not, whether it's like me or not, whether it makes any sense to me or not, it doesn't matter. Because the infinite intelligence that God is coordinating and correlating and bringing all of us together in the right time, in the right place, and in the right way. Right in the sense of our own greatest good and the greatest good of all the world. And as our larger world wakes up to the truth of our struggle toward oneness, of our misunderstood attempt to do that by eliminating the other, I choose to step beyond that. I choose to stand in a place where it's all good, it's all God, where everyone and everything is an expression of that power. I celebrate the sameness, I celebrate the uniqueness, I celebrate life itself in this great rainbow of colors. And in that celebration, I let this be the truth, I let this be my truth. I let it be so.